What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the J Rock Show. I'm your host, Jason J.K. Candell. I'm back with another J Rock Show first today. I have Jay Midoriya, Bay Area Breakers guard, in the SimWorld TV studios with me today, and he's here to break some big news. But we're gonna get to that later in today's show. Jay, I appreciate you joining me today. How are we doing on this fine Friday afternoon?
Man, listen, I'm doing fantastic. I'm just so happy to finally be on your show, man, JK. Been talking to you for a while. I'm just glad to finally be here.
Absolutely. We have been talking about this for a good couple of weeks now, but I'm glad we finally made it happen. So I'm excited to have you here, man. Let's talk about some SimWorld U action before we get into some details of your own journey. And let's start with what went down in Ann Arbor. Tempers flared between Michigan stars Richard Pizarski and Lorenzo Phenom during a Tuesday night 84-72 loss to Villanova. I reported that same night that a Michigan spokesperson told me that the two are not seeing eye to eye. So, does this beg the question of, is Dusty May's culture in Ann Arbor to blame, or do we see these two alpha players as more of a battle of egos?
Uh, Kind of like a battle of egos. The way how I see it, like having multiple alphas on the team, yeah, you're gonna have multiple egos every which way. Uh, Sometimes you whoever's willing to make the bigger sacrifice is usually the one that's the most mature 9 times out of 10. I'm not gonna say both of these players are immature in a way, but I think it's just tempers flaring because of a loss. Like even with bringing it back full circle, like with my team, like let's say we lose anything of that nature. Sometimes we always butt heads or anything like that, but it's just a competitive nature. Um, I personally believe that the battle egos, the way how it works, it comes full circle. I kind of like look at it the same way as I look at like Remember the Titans. With Julius and B both, just going back and forth button heads all the time. The next thing you know, they come together full circle. It it's a thing. It's gonna happen from time to time. You're gonna have like when you bring big names or you bring like that talent out there, it's gonna happen. That's just pretty much the way I see it.
Absolutely. I totally get what you mean. How I kind of interpreted it from what the sources told me and from what I know is that when Lorenzo Phenom was suspended for his fight with Malik Duffin earlier this season, Richard Pizarski became the top option in the offense, and Pizarski was feeling a little bit insecure about, or Phenom was feeling a little bit insecure about that. And since Pizarski was playing so well in his absence, he won SimWorld U Player of the Week. He felt that they both feel that they deserve to be the top option on this team. They both have been playing good basketball. They both have SWBA futures, but it's unprofessional. They're both more worried about getting their touches or being the top dog compared to actually getting pro or winning games. And I don't think this is really on Dusty May at all. He's a first year coach who inherited both of these guys. They're more experienced. They're supposed to be leaders in the locker room for this Michigan team, and they're not acting like it.
Right, right, right. Yeah, it's always that's why with like coming back full circle, battling with those egos. Granted, yeah, first year head coach, you're inheriting a new team, you're bringing in a new system, everything else in between. But those tenured players, those guys that's been there, those guys that are willing to sit back over, and, make this sacrifice for the bigger cause. Those are the guys you're willing to have in your locker room and everything else in between. As of right now, I mean, like personally, I don't know what's going on in the locker room. Nobody knows. But however, I would like to point this out even if they're feeling insecure as of right now, I'm 9 times out of 10. I'm not gonna sit back over and say it probably would be a guarantee, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna work it out. They could probably sit back over and talk about it. If not, then it's downhill in Aaron Arbor as we go. And I really don't want to see the Maize and Blue go down that way because I'm low key a fan. But really do not really can't really sit back over and just go off the speculation of that. It like oh my god, been suspended now. Next thing you know, I'm being replaced. I can't. I don't want Lorenzo to really feel. I can't really say Lorenzo don't have a right to feel that way, but at the same time frame, it's like I mean, you did what you did. You got suspended. We had to go for a different option. So kind of got to look at it from that standpoint and just understand it. But I see multiple perspectives at anything. So that's just me. But the way how I'm going to point it out is, again, like, it's a battle of egos. This is really a test to see how their chemistry is going to work for the rest of their season. And I'm always a person to sit back over and look at the good of everything. So I think this is pretty much going to bring them closer rather than spread them apart. I'm pretty sure Coach is going to be the middleman here. He's probably going to break it down to him a little bit easier. But I'm pretty sure the Maize and Blue is just going to be fine. I mean, it's one loss, yeah, but at the same time frame, this loss is just going to be a lesson.
Absolutely. I'm a little I if I'm a scout or a GM, I would be a little bit concerned about Lorenzo Phenom. I think they're both good talents, but Phenom is known to fight and have some character concerns. I don't think he should slip out of the first round, but instead of being a lottery pick, I would be a little weary drafting him anywhere. I'd say inside the top 15 or 20 picks. But let's talk
Uh,
about. Uh, sorry, not to cut you off. What were you saying, Jay?
I was gonna say no. I get that because like as a GM, anybody that's looking to be drafted, you always got to handle your professionalism at any case in point. So yeah, that's definitely understandable. It's no purpose in regards to like fighting or arguing. At the
Def
same time, you always gonna have that argument of backfire in that alpha dog. But yeah, there's no place for unprofessionalism at all, either
ab-
or ways.
Absolutely, especially when scouts are watching. But let's talk about the other big Big Ten squad in the state of Michigan, the Michigan State Spartans, the school where I obtained my journalism degree. They won their third in a row on Wednesday night against Wichita State, improved to 8-6. But on Tuesday night, they beat SMU on CBS behind 26 points from Jai Edge. Michigan State is finds like they're really about to hit their stride at the right time this season. They've had some inconsistencies. They've beaten a couple ranked teams in recent contests, and we're seeing the impacts of a veteran, great coach in SimWorld right now in Tom Izzo, and it's looking like Michigan State is a true threat come Big Ten play.
Man, let me say something real quick. First and foremost, I don't ever sleep on a Michigan State team at all. Plain and simple, it don't matter. Coach Izzo is one of the, as like you said, he's one of the more successful coach in this field. I love his coaching style. I love his, uh, you know, his personality on and off the court when it comes down to being around with his players. And like you said, of course, they hitting stride at the right time, especially during conference play. You always want to hit stride at the right time, especially when it comes down to going against your rivals. And as you can clearly see, of course, the maize and blue is looking going backwards, and the green and white is going forward. So, it's a lot to take in. Um, Honestly, I think as of right now, I would say Michigan State. I would give it to them. I'm not gonna give them the whole Big Ten, but I would definitely give them probably within the top five ending conference play. I'll give them top five, just the way how their run is like striding to everything. And Jai Edge is a beast. That dude is. I personally I wouldn't know how to hold him. If I was a coach, really.
Yeah, they have Jai Edge. Jadrian Elia has been really nice from long range. Devontae Millsaps, Malcolm Chamberlain. This is a very solid Michigan State team, and I agree with you. I'm not giving them the Big Ten, but what I am giving them is a lot of respect. I'm not counting them out any given night. I think the two clear best teams in the Big Ten are Maryland and Iowa. Cooper King, Cross, Lamarian Sherwood, both in conversation for the number one pick. Then from there, it is really anybody's conference. And that's why I think we're going to see Michigan State get hot come Big Ten play. And I expect to see them again return to Hoopsteria, continuing one of the more impressive streaks in SimWorld U. Like I was saying, I expect Michigan State to keep doing big things with Izzo. I don't know how much time he has left, but they're catching their stride at the right time and are looking like they could be a threat, especially with Jai Edge playing his best basketball. But Jay, I want to ask you something. Conference play for SimWorld U begins next Wednesday. What in conference matchup or rivalry matchups are you most excited to see the rest of the SimWorld U season?
Okay, so I've been raised as a Tar Heel fan, so I'm always gonna watch the Tar Heels play. You know, Duke versus Carolina. That's always gonna be a hysteria here. But if I honestly wanted to sit back over and say what I really want to watch in regards of conference play, um, it's the game between Princeton and SMU. Realistically, those two teams, they pretty much are going on hot strides as of right now. I really want to see how SMU would go ahead and play and match up against Princeton. Not saying like Princeton is, you know, anything like that, but however, the way how Princeton has been playing as of lately, it's really not something to sneeze at. SMU versus Princeton, and then of course it's always UCLA and USC in the Pac-12. Personally, I think UCLA might end up losing that one because USC is kind of getting a little bit better as time goes through. Um, and even so, I mean, like with the Big 12 matchup, my one that I actually want to see is Oklahoma versus Texas. Those are the two matchups that I actually want to see right there. Well, the two teams that I want to see in the Big 12 matchup, realistically. So I got a lot of matchups. I mean, I'm just ready for college play to come into effect. Well, conference play, excuse me, to come into effect, man. And I'm gonna be steady watching it. I got a lot of film to watch in regards to all these teams. You know.
Absolutely. The games I'm always excited to see. You know, I'm excited to see Ohio State, Michigan. I know it's more of a SimWorld U football rivalry, but I love that rivalry. It's one of my favorites in all of SimWorld U. I like Michigan State, Michigan because of my green and white ties. I really respect Big Ten rivalries, but I want to talk about a game that does take place next Thursday night on ESPN, and that's Oklahoma, Texas. Everybody loves the Red River rivalry on the gridiron, but on the basketball court, it's just as impressive. You got Suno Chapa, you got Arthur Lattimore, you have Vincent Magic, you have Floyd Henderson, you have Jace McGez. A lot of big level talents in that game, Jay. So that's a game I'm looking out for. Like you said, Duke, North Carolina, as always. And another one I'm looking for, Florida State, Miami. Those games never disappoint.
Okay. See, unfortunately, Miami has pretty much been on the doo-doo side for me, so I haven't really paid much attention to them. I mean, out of respect, of course, they in the ACC. I do kind of like keep my head on a swivel just in case, you know, they come through and like they. It just takes one win to turn back around. But as of right now, I don't really consider Miami being much of a threat in the ACC as of right now. But FSU versus Miami will always be a good one.
Yeah. And another one I'm excited for Villanova, Georgetown in the Big East. Both those teams have been playing some really good basketball. Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech, both of those teams have looked good as of late. And UCLA, Arizona are also games that I think could really be fun over the next couple of weeks, couple of months.
Oh man, you made me forget about UCLA, Arizona. That was always a good one. That rivalry right there is always the best one. Um, you know, to be honest, ever since I came over to the Bay Area Breakers and started, you know, working out and everything, I realistically have been paying attention a lot more to like the West Coast, especially with like Pac-12, Pac-10 play, excuse me. Um, UCLA and Arizona, those guys, I mean, I remember when I was watching uh as a kid, you know, just watching them play on TV and everything before I got into SimWorld. It's a lot of memories I have between Arizona and UCLA, especially with like Kyle Anderson playing, Nick Johnson, Aaron Gordon. Um, this time you got Corey Yams, and honestly, I think Arizona might pull it out against UCLA. Sorry, coach, but they got too much good talent. At least in the interior. UCLA, if they necessarily have to beat them, they got to get Arizona to shoot. That's pretty much the only way I see it. But other than that, I think Arizona got a little bit too much talent out there in the forefront, in the front court, to match up a little bit with UCLA.
All right.
That's the way I see it.
Interesting. Got a lot of great answers there, my man. But let's kind of switch gears here a little bit. I had you on to talk some big news regarding your recruitment, regarding your SimWorld U future. But before I hand things over to you completely, Can you kind of give me some rationale behind that decision of yours to reclassify to SimWorld U next season? And did you ever second guess the decision after hearing what those scouts had to say?
I knew somebody was gonna ask me that. No, I don't second guess myself. I don't doubt myself. I don't. I don't care what everybody else thinks about me. I don't care about anybody else's opinion about me. Honestly, I look at it the way I always looked at it. Like I'm gonna step back over here and say it like this, basically. So I was bred for this. I was born for this. I was made for this. I was tailored for this. So growing up in life, my grandfather actually started a basketball tournament. Um, my mom, she's originally from Brooklyn, New York. I was born in North Carolina because my parents met when my mom moved down here in high school. So for me, I was born in North Carolina, but I was always going up in the summers playing basketball in New York. So I was always raised as a dog, pretty much to go hoop, pretty much just play against big names, big talent. It don't matter. If anybody always doubted me, I did not care. I would still lace my shoes up and play against anybody. It doesn't matter. To the scouts that doubt me, I always tell people just watch. I mean, I told people just watch when granted we only won one tournament, but even with that, people doubted us as the breakers, and I even sat back over and told them, watch. I even told myself, why not again, or just keep going. That's just pretty much what it is. Everybody's gonna have doubts. Everybody's gonna have opinions. That's the way how it is. It's up to you on whether or not if you want to make those opinions false or fact. That's your decision.
And but what made you want to join SimWorld U next season? Are you
Well,
ready
I
for the
mean, like
challenges to
to be
come?
honest with you,
Yeah.
yeah, that's it right there. I love a challenge. I want to hoop against the best. I want to be the best. I don't care about being compared with the best, but I do want to be the best. I want to like brand myself to be the best, pretty much. Like I want to go against the challenges. I'm pretty much one of those players that love to adapt and love to go through each and every challenge, each and every way. So it don't matter. Like I'm detail oriented. I always want to sit back over. You can ask Coach Pope. You can ask Trey. You can ask DJ. You can ask the whole team. You can ask my grandfather. Anybody. Like pretty much period point blank. I put in uh meticulous amount of time in regards of me sitting back over here and planning out what is beneficial for me as well as of course what is beneficial for my career since I do want to become a SWBA prospect. Now SWU as of right now, I get it. It's a huge challenge. It's a lot of great players out there. I pay my respects to all those great players. But at the same time frame, I mean, like they coming in with the same mindset that I'm coming in. I gotta prove a point. Everybody got somewhere to be. Everybody's finishing line, well, excuse me, everybody's starting line is different. That don't matter to me personally. I sit back over and I put in the work each and every day. So I put in the work and I told myself that I'm gonna do this because it's what I want to do. I love the challenge and I want to go against the best. Plain and simple.
All right. And let's end this episode off right. I hear you want to announce your college commitment here on this show. The floor is yours, my friend.
Most definitely, most definitely. All right, man. So, as of next year, I will be planning on taking my talents to Jackson State University, home of the Tigers. I will be going up and playing in the American Conference. Hopefully, I'll be able to make some noise out there in Jackson, Mississippi. I put a lot of time and effort into this, but Jackson State University actually offered me out a main focus. They wanted to, because of my leadership, because of the way I am on and off the floor, they wanted me to sit back over and take advantage of, you know, building a legacy for myself out in Jackson State, and I realistically want to be able to prove a point. Plus, on top of that as well, I mean, like I know it's no blue blood, but I want to be able to go somewhere where I can make a name for myself, and I could be that person. I could be that guy. You know, whether or not if I could build myself to be the best within the next 4 years before I get the SWBA, I mean, that's up for me to decide. But
And
yeah, I'm going to the Tigers.
all right, I know you were telling me that you were considering Arizona, Memphis, and this is quite the change, quite the pivot. So congratulations to you, man. Wishing you the best next season, being coached by Mo Williams, who people forget, is a 13-year SWBA veteran.
And that's the main reason on why I chose to go over there. I was given offers towards Memphis. Like realistically, what made me go ahead and choose the ties between going with Jackson State over Memphis or Arizona or anything like that was because of that SWBA ties with Mo Williams. Coach Williams sat back over. We had a conversation. He he said that your leadership is just well known, especially with the way how you carry yourself. Even after a loss, you still don't let it distract you. You still sit back over and keep your goals and your mindset on full circle. And that's something that like I said, I want to bring to Jackson State University. I'm not gonna sit back over and guarantee no championships. I'm just gonna guarantee that we're gonna go out each and every day and we just gonna be dogs. That's pretty much what it is.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to wrap up this episode of the J Rock Show. I appreciate you joining me, Jay. Congratulations on the commitment to Jackson State. Appreciate all of you for tuning into this episode. Stay tuned for whoever's going to be on the hot seat next week. And remember, folks, SimWorld, the only place you can see the game, be the game.